been for quite a long time consistently campaigns for that. Also a member of our party, and it's she'll tell you all about it, I'm sure.
Okay, hi. Thank you guys, thank you ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charlotte, as Bill said. I'm a member of WRP Brixton branch. I'm also retired. I've also been a political animal for a long time, and I'm also fully since retiring 100% involved with the Julian Assange. So Julian Assange, as you may not know, but I'll talk to you from not knowing anything at all. Julian Assange is not in prison for any crimes he has done. Julian Assange is in prison for doing journalism. 100%. There's no crimes that he has done. So 16 years on, Julian is now caught between the two devils, Sunak and Biden, and the deep blue Atlantic. Because if he goes across the Atlantic Ocean, he's facing death sentence of 175 years. Nobody has ever said 175 years. So it's a death sentence, basically. The latest is that on the 20th and the 21st of February, he got a chance to do an appeal at the High Court. We're waiting now on the decision. So whether that decision is yes, he could continue with an appeal, will be great. If it's no, he has to proceed the EU. I have no confidence in EU judgments and UK judgment because, as our colleague just talked about it, we're not living in a real democracy anyway. It's just a fake democracy. So just a quick run through about Assange. Assange, as you know, is Australian. He grew up in an anti-war home circle and he developed a great love for all things engineering, computers, electronics, fixing brick and mending and so on. So at an early age he had that interest. And he came to the UK along with 700,000 Australians, trying to find their feet, trying to discover new things. He struck up on the idea in 2008, doing 100% online publication, and that was the first, so he was a pioneer. 2014 finds him, he was a single person then, he's 24, he's a married man with 2 small children. The whole family, I tell you, they're doing time, they're being tortured, they're being searched, dogs are smelling 2 small children every time he goes to Belmarsh prison, which is a high security prison, which costs the taxpayers £100,000. So that is what his young family is facing, all for doing journalism and exposing the crimes of the ruling elites, the ruling classes, the political elites, and the USA imperial power. As I say, he was quite unique and a bit of a pioneer because he did 100% online publication. He also invented this Dropbox, which was a security feature that whistleblowers could donate information to him and they will be safe. So he was a pioneer in that. He was also a pioneer in bringing from the underground the business of cyber warfare, which we thought only happened in our homes with little boys playing with computers, which is what countries do to countries, with the leadership being USA. For example, USA and Israel got together with a unit called Unit 8200, and they sent a virus called Susnek, which crippled the Iran nuclear civilian program. And then in 2010, the USA sent another virus, this time to Samsung TVs. That program, that gadget was supposed to be eavesdropping. So that was also used in the Samsung units within the US Congress during the torture investigation. So they were able to eavesdrop on the Congress people and also threaten them. So again, he was first in doing or bringing all that to the surface. So we started hearing about cyber warfare now because of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. And he was also, they were also the first online people to lose all their earnings, and that was due to Obama and the good work of Obama and Clinton and PayPal. So they had their account in supposedly neutral Switzerland that was stolen. All their earnings was stolen. So they were now without earnings, hunted, and Julian Assange now being the guns were turned to Assange. So that was led by Obama, then Trump, then Biden, and by a succession of UK MPs who repeated the same hate and the spite and the vengeance. Their script was to continuously punish Assange and then boast about Western civilization and values. And the contradictions are so obvious. And so over the years, justice has been denied to Assange. Assange has been a victim of crime. There was a case in point in 2017 where Trump, Pompeo, and Trump's donor, a Jewish guy called Sheldon Adelson, who gave Trump $50 million. That guy was able to get the security people who worked at the Ecuador embassy, and their plan was either to poison him or leave the door open so that people could go in and murder Assange in Ecuador embassy, not the property of the UK. So, and all that came due to a court case in Spain, and that court case was never publicized by BBC, never publicized by any of the US corporate media. It was actually done to Grey Zone. That came out of the good work of a fellow called Max Blumenthal and his crew. They did the whole thing very deep. So if you want to find out more about that case, Grey Zone is a place, not BBC. So the unraveling of the media and media freedoms, we started losing our freedoms in the War of Terror in 2001. A lot of the terror laws in all countries came out of that era, and we started losing that. And then COVID 2020 Act brought more restrictions for us, and again taking away more of our civil liberties, including, because our colleague talked about the Thatcher government taking away the trade union laws, interfering with employment laws. They started a long time ago. So this has just been building. And lawfare was used with Assange, because Margaret Nye of Sweden joined together with Keir Starmer of the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, to keep the rape allegations or the sexual allegations in the media, to get the public to hate Assange and to have this idea of a crime that he has done against women, against him. All because you can't see the women, you can't hear their voice, they're protecting the women. Never mind all the rape cases here in England has gone through the roof and there's nobody getting justice. But they're concerned about these two women because it's about Assange. So that is
all constructed, this accusation was all constructed.
Yeah. So exactly. So Michael and I and Sweden, and they said, Keir Starmer kept telling her, don't get cold feet now, we nearly here, don't get cold feet. All this came out through different emails and stuff. But there are two important cases I want to bring about lawfare. It's very good, and it had a very good outcome. We had a case of Lula in Brazil. He was a victim of the car wash operation. That was a lawfare case. And it was only because it was about people power. All his supporters went to his jail every day, singing, shouting, praying, dancing. They became a nuisance. And then another independent journalist, Glenn Greenwald, together with his researcher and the defense team worked. And today, Lula is free. So that was a lawfare that had a positive ending for Lula. The other case that had a positive ending was Meng Wanzhou, who was the CEO of Huawei, who got rendition in Canada, and she got released recently in 2022 because of her government working hands, to flat on 100% until she was freed. Julian Assange doesn't have that, because Julian Assange is almost stateless, because neither of the Australian Prime Ministers want to interfere with the case because they are part of the Five Eyes, which is the 5 intelligence services. They don't want to touch it. The UK wants to kill him in prison. When Julian Assange initially went into prison for the first time, he was placed in a cell with a serial killer. And the plan was to hopefully, if he can be killed in prison, that would be the best outcome from the weasels running the UK. Because they want to still pretend that they're in the democracy, Western values, Western this and that and the other, when in fact they're very sinister, very dark people. So this is where, and we know that the courts have lost independence. So we don't have independent courts because a lot of the judges who were involved in the Assange case, they have been shown to be tied to the surveillance state or surveillance, the military, military apparatus. So they're not independent. There have been attacks from corporate media. There's been non-compliance from the UK when Niels Melzer went to the prison. The UN asked Niels Melzer to go, and he was the UN rapporteur on torture. He was asked to go to Belmarsh prison to interview Assange and see the conditions and see the state of Assange. Assange has 3 different types of health problems. He's been denied healthcare in a country that has free healthcare. And Niels Melzer was not even met by the governor of the prison, Belmarsh prison. They didn't want to comply. They didn't want to really assist him. They treated him like he was not even from the UN. And so there has been non-compliance. He made recommendations. They've ignored it. They've shown proper discourtesy when he visited Assange. They assessed him as a political prisoner and a victim of torture and a victim of injustice. And obviously, we're now in a really bad stage now, because now WikiLeaks is wounded, because actually Assange was WikiLeaks and WikiLeaks is Assange. It's like symbiosis. And in its weakened stage, the corporate media have lost that forte status, and they're now just repeaters and parrots and stenographers of the people who pay them, the ruling classes. They've captured these people. Once they've decided to pay these people 6-figure salaries, these people have become, they don't report for us. So Assange was reported for us because he was actually telling us about their crimes. They're not doing that. And they're becoming worse and worse and worse in terms of civil rights, right to protest, as we see with what's happening with the genocide in Palestine. But that didn't just happen. They needed the economic base to kind of bring all that together. And the economic base that they use, because we will be going along with the Marxist-based economics. These people, these economic foreign people, United States leaders, UK elites, they go for the libertarian economics. They went for it. And it was mistakenly called neoliberal. But that became a kind of secular religion from the 90s onwards. And it was pitched as privatization, the privatized companies will do better, and it's just moved on and on and on. And so that the fewer and fewer people own great crops of land, houses, mass media. So in the United States, 6 large companies run that media, and over here we have no idea, because anybody could run the media. You could be running some military apparatus and still running mass media, and that is not a problem. So there's no kind of fine line. So that is kind of where we are. And of course, that has made the corporate media totally throw Assange under the bus after making millions. The Spiegel, France 24, New York Times, they all made millions from his revelations. Now they've thrown him under the bus since 2016. They've thrown him under the bus. He's definitely under the bus. They don't want anything to do with him. Now in order to do that, to give themselves some sort of reason for not supporting him or his journalism, they had to pitch him now as a hacker. He was a hacker. He was a leaker. Because he's not a journalist. Because if he's a journalist, why are you not supporting him? So a leaker, all these weasel kind of excuses not to support him. So that's where we are. And they've been going after media. They've been going after independent media. I mean, they went after RT. They've been threatening to take down RT. They took down RT, and they used another weasel excuse about the invasion into Ukraine. Then they put a D-notice so you can't talk about Assange on air, and the D-notice is just something optional. Somebody could say, come on, don't do it, but you could say, well, I don't want to do it because it's news. But they did it, they went along with it anyway. So did you notice RT off the air, and RT was at every Assange meeting. They were there. They were actually covering. When BBC wasn't there, but RT was there. And they had a special video thing, I forget the name of it, Rupley used to be there in front of Ecuador Embassy, constantly covering a lot of stuff. And now that has been denied. So Assange, has no, but just independent journalists, which is why we need to really keep an eye on independent journalists. So one of the bad things is the censorship has risen 1,000%, but one of the good things is that there has been a multiplication of citizens journalism and independent journalism that you can trust. So the working class still has a choice, although we have to be very, very careful who we follow. What else? So out of the 680 elected MPs, only 22 signed a paper to visit Assange, and they waited for nearly 4 years, and they eventually did it last year, and it was only 5 MPs, including Jeremy Corbyn, the other one from the north, very tall guy. The other lady, what you call her? The one who's in the papers now. Diane Abbott, and the 2 other Asians. That was all out of the 680 people. And originally the paper was signed by 24. The governor wouldn't even let them in. It was as if the MPs work for them. They don't work for the government. The MPs work for them. It was so discourteous, it was absolutely unbelievable. So, and people like Luke Harding used to be with the Guardian, just like media parrots.
I don't want to stop you, but we're running short of time.
Okay.